Hello my lovelies, this is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia. In this video I'm going to show you guys how to crochet this very easy cardigan. We're going to be using the seed stitch for majority of the work except for the ribbing part here, which is also in the bottom, and also each of the sleeves. But beside that, we're going to be using the seed stitch. But as you can see here, it looks very nice and very textured, and this is what we're going to be aiming for. Even though it's going to be extremely loose on me, it's a cardigan. It needs to be nice and warm and cozy, so it's going to look more like a large size on me, but that is pretty much because I want it at that size. If you're looking to make this as more like a tight fit, then it's probably not gonna be something that you can duplicate mine. You're gonna have to play with measuring and things like that to get it your size. So please go get all of your stuff so we can go ahead and get started. Okay, my lovelies, so before we get this video started, as usual, I'm going to show you all the materials that I'm using for this project. So as you can see here, I have my yarn, of course. This is Craft Smart Value TM, one of my favorite yarns to use for sweaters, for scarves, for beanie hats, things like that. As you can see here, this is all the measurements. This color is called Reef. It is a medium weight, number 4, 100% acrylic, and recommended hook size is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook or US I9. Okay, so that is what I have for the yarn, and I'm using my 5 millimeter crochet hook here, or I9 US. I'm gonna need a darning needle just to weave in my parts. Just have some stitch markers laying around. That's always a good idea whenever you crochet. A scissors, of course, to cut my strands or my yarn, and a tape measure to make sure I get the sizes correct. So that's pretty much it here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the video started. Let's do that. Okay, so we're gonna go right into getting this project started. And as you can see, I have my yarn all set up in my finger here. This is pretty much how I started off, is I wind my yarn on my index finger like that, and then I have my tail hanging here so we can start the project. Okay, so the first thing that I'm gonna do is we're going to create a foundation chain. And since this is going to be kind of like a big cardigan, I'm going to do a chain of 91. So 90 plus 1, and that one will be my turning chain. Now, to get that started, for those of you who are new and maybe looking for ways to do a slip knot, this is how I do my slip knot. I have my yarn. I have the yarn going over my middle finger. I pinch it with my thumb, just like that. And then I go around and wind it around my thumb like that. I have an X in the back. I pinch it, and then I slide it off my finger. I take my hook. I put it in that little hole that I just made. I yarn over by going underneath the yarn that's coming from my my index finger, and then I release, and that's how I do my slip knot. Okay, so there you go. I'm not gonna waste too much yarn, so I'm gonna actually make it so that I don't have too much chain hanging here, or like a tail hanging, because I don't like to waste yarn. So I'm just gonna redo it like that. Okay, and then we're going to start with our chain of 90 plus 1, so 91. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I've gone ahead and completed my chain of 91 here. So as you can see, that is pretty much the length of it, and this is going to be to create the length of our cardigan. Okay, so again, this is the part where if you want your cardigan to be a lot longer than this, then you would make more chains. If you want it to be shorter than this, then you will make less chains. Okay, and that's also why we have a tape measure. It's always important to measure how long down you want it, and then make a chain that corresponds with the length of what you want for your cardigan. Okay, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with our first row, and we're going to skip this first row, this first stitch here, which is our 91st stitch, and we're going to go in the second one, and we're going to grab the back of that chain and do a single crochet stitch, just like that. And then we're going to move on to the next one and do a single crochet stitch there. Okay, and then you're going to go into the next one, oops, into the next one and grab your single crochet, and this is pretty much what you're going to do all the way to the end of the chain. And this is going to be our first row, and then we're going to start a second row, which is going to be our repeat row for this part of the project. Okay, so as you can see, have single crochet stitches in the back of the chain. This is the back of the chain here with these lumps, this bumpy stuff, and then this is the front with this V shape for the chain. Okay, so I will have you guys go ahead and continue to finish the single crochet stitches in the back of your chain, and when you get to the end, which is all the way at where we started off here, come back to the video and I'm going to show you guys how to start the second row. Okay, so I will see you guys when you get to the end. Okay, so I went ahead and completed this first row of the single crochet stitch, and as you can see, this is pretty much the first row of it here. And like I said earlier, we're creating one of the front panels, and it doesn't matter if it's the left or the right, but it's going to be one of the front panels. Okay, now to go ahead and show you guys how to do the second row, which is also going to be the repeat row, we're going to start with doing a chain one and then turn your work. Okay, and then in this very first stitch here, right after your chain one, we're going to do a double crochet stitch, just like that. Okay, and then in this next stitch here, we're going to do a single crochet stitch, and then in the next, a double crochet stitch. So this repeat row here is going to be an alternation of single crochet stitch, double crochet stitch, single crochet stitch, double crochet stitch. And this is just something that I wanted to do to create some kind of a texture of this cardigan. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and do this alternation all the way to the end, and then when you get to the end, again, come back to the video. Okay guys, so as you can see here, I have completed my second row, but it's the first row of this pattern that I'm creating, which is alternating between single crochet stitch and double crochet stitches. And this is how it looks so far. Just a really nice texture that is not very defined, like you don't see lines or anything that would make it look like there's a single crochet here, there's a double crochet here, just something that has a nice texture. Okay, and as you can see, I just completed my final double crochet stitch here, and so I'm gonna be ending it right here with a single crochet. Okay, so I end it with a single crochet right there, and then I'm going to start my row 3, which is chain 1 again and flip. So again, after you chain 1 and turn, we're going to go ahead and do our double crochet in that very first stitch, and then in the next one right here, we're going to do a single crochet stitch. So again, like I said, this second row that we just completed is our repeat row, and so in this third row, we're just doing exactly the same thing we did in row 2, which is we start off with our double crochet stitch right after we chain 1, and then a single crochet stitch, a double crochet stitch, a single crochet stitch, and that's pretty much what we're going to continue to do until we have part of this front panel completed. So I'm not gonna tell you too much here, because it's just now repeating this until you have the front panel, part of your front panel completed. In my case, I'm going to do 20 rows, so this is my row 3. I'm going to do 17 more to make it 20, and then when that's done for me, I will come back to the video to explain how we then incorporate the back panel into the same piece. So go ahead and do however many rows that you require for part of your front panel. Because I'm making a small to a medium, this is why I'm doing 20, and we're also going to do like a little band at the end as well for the front panels. So I'm going to do my 20 rows. When I complete my 20 rows, I'm going to come back so we can get started with the back panel. Okay, so I will see you guys when you're back. Okay, my lovelies, so as you can see here, I have gone ahead and completed my 20 rows of the front panel. Okay, so I completed my double crochet stitch here, and I have a single crochet stitch at the end to complete, but that's okay. I always leave a stitch at the end to show you guys how to finish that off. But this is pretty much how it looks like. So this is a nice texture. It's very stretchy, it's very bulky type of cardigan. Okay, and this is obviously going to be for something that you're gonna wear in the winter or cold season. And just for measurements really quick, so as I said earlier, I am making a small to a medium, and of course you will be making it at the size that you're looking for. So if I measure the length of it, the 90 stitches that we did at the beginning, or 91, but the one was for turning chain. If I measure it, so as you can see here, and I always measure in inches, and then if we move it all the way to the end here, I'm at about 33 inches long. So it's quite long, and for me being 5'2", this pretty much goes right above my knees. This is how long this cardigan is gonna be, and that's how I wanted it. Okay, so that's why I said have a tape measure with you. So if you want this cardigan to be shorter, then you would do less stitches to begin with at the beginning, or the number of chains. And if you wanted it to be even longer than what I just did, then you're going to make sure you do more chains than that. Okay, and as you can see so far, the width of the this is, oh, let me just bring it into the camera here. So as you can see, the width is about 7 inches. Okay, and so we're going to stop with the part of the front panel here. All right, so with that device out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to finish this part off, and then we're going to go ahead and get started with our back panel. Okay, so again, I just finished my double crochet stitch here, and then so the next one automatically is going to be our single crochet stitch to finish this row off. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing we did, which is start a chain 1 and turn my work. And I'm just going to move this guy over to my left here, so I have this visible for you guys to see. And now that I've done my chain 1, the same thing we have done, I'm going to do a double crochet stitch right here, right above where the single crochet from the previous row was, and then a single crochet in the next stitch. So this doesn't change at all. You're doing the same thing that we've been doing throughout the project so far, and you're going to do this until you have about 25 stitches to go. Okay, so count your 25 stitches, put a stitch marker where that is, and you're going to do this until you get to your stitch marker. When you get to your stitch marker, come back and I will show you guys how to do that part where we can then start the creation of the back panel. Okay, so go ahead when you have about 25. Again, it's gonna depend on, because I'm now trying to create a gap for your sleeve, for your arm sleeve. So depending on how big your arms are, or small, or how long you how wide you want the sleeve part to be, you're going to leave behind the number of stitches here based on that. But don't worry if you leave, let's say 25 stitches, and at the end when we're joining our work together it turns out to be too big, you just have to join the part that is left out. So that is not a big deal, but leave about 26 stitches, and then when you have that, come back and I will show you guys how to do the next part. Okay, so I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so I have gone ahead and completed my regular row, which is the 21st row of this work, and I marked out 25 stitches. So I have 25 stitches that I left out here. Okay, and this is where I put my stitch markers. So this first one here is my first stitch marker, my first stitch, and then 25th is this last one here. So now I'm going to create the part that we're going to be working into for the back panel. And to do that, I'm going to be doing a chain of 26. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now that I have my chain of 26 here, okay, I am going to go ahead and start working back down the chain. And as you can see here, this is the 26th stitch that I am skipping. And in this second stitch, I'm going to start by doing my double crochet in that stitch, but I'm going to go in the back of the chain and do my double crochet right there. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead in the second stitch and I'm going to do my single crochet, and again I'm going through the back of this chain because I want to make it consistent with what we have been doing here. Okay, And then again in the next one, I'm going to go ahead and do my double crochet stitch in the second in the next stitch, and then in the next one after that I'm going to do my single crochet, and again I'm working in the back of the chain. Okay, so go ahead and do that all the way until you get to the end here. When you get to the end here, come back. If you have a few stitches left, come back, and I will show you guys how to transition to working along back down the work. Okay, so go ahead and complete this until you have maybe 2 or 3 stitches left, and come back so I can show you how to transition it in. See you guys in a bit. Okay guys, so I have gone ahead and done 24 stitches so far here. 25 stitches, sorry. So we have our 25 stitches here, and it's all the alternation of the single crochet and a double crochet stitch. And then at the last section, so now the next thing we're gonna do is I've done a single crochet here, and as you can see from the previous row, we ended with a double crochet stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and do my next stitch here as a double crochet, and this is going to join these two parts like that. Okay, so as you can see, this is then that part, and this is going to be where the sleeve goes. I'm pulling it here because it looks a little bit shorter, but it is not short. It's just that it just comes off like that. So don't worry if you see that it looks like it's a little bit shorter. Just count and make sure you have your 25 stitches here, so that you know it's matching the stitches that you skipped to create the chain on this side. Okay, and then of course, because I have my double crochet there, the next stitch is going to be a single crochet, and then I'm going to move on to a double crochet stitch. And this is again where our repetition comes in, and we're going to pretty much do this until we have the size of the back panel. So we're going to do this all the way to the end here, and then we're going to chain 1, repeat the pattern, and go all the way up. When you get back here, chain 1, repeat the pattern, go all the way up, and you're going to do that until you have the length or the size of your back. Okay, so again, I don't know what that is for you. For me, I'm going to do about 58 stitches. Okay, so this being the first one, and then when I come back, it's going to be 2, 3, 4 all the way to 58. And when I have my 58 rows, which is for my back panel, then I'm going to come back to show you guys how to pretty much do what we just did here to create the other half or the other side of the front panel. Okay, so this is where you're gonna go ahead and work as much as you need to, as long as you need to. Pause the video, save it so that you don't lose it, and then when you are done your front panel, or the back panel, then you come back and I will go ahead and show you guys how to do the other part. Okay, so go ahead and do that. I'm doing my 58 rows. When I'm done 58 rows, I'm gonna come back and show you guys the next step. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I've gone ahead and completed about 56 rows of the back panel of this cardigan. So as you can see, this is the side panel, or one of the front side panels that we completed together, and then we left the gap here for where the armpit will go, or the arm will go, and then I completed my 56 rows here. Okay, so what we're gonna do next here is we're going to then repeat the same thing on the other side to do the 20 rows of the one side of the front panels. Okay, all right, so for this I've already done my 56 rows, and this is my 57th row here for the back panel, and then I've already done the stitch mark on my 26th stitch here, and this is the gap that I'm going to leave here. And so I'm not going to show you how to do this again because we already did that on this end here, where we left out 26 inches or 26 stitches, sorry, and then we did 26 chains to start our back panel. And that's what we're going to do here. Is I'm going to chain 26 here all the way up, and then I'm going to work down my chain just like we did on the other side, and then continue to go, and I'm going to do 20 rows of that total. And then when we come back, we should be able to have the side panel, which is the front, one of the front panels here, completed. The other side will be completed, and then we're going to work on the sleeves of the cardigan. Okay, my lovelies, so as you can see here, I needed to come and spread this cardigan on my bed because my workstation is a small table and I wouldn't be able to show you guys the full thing like this. But this is pretty much the back panel. The middle part here is the back panel, and then we have one of the side panel, the front panel, and one of the other side of the front panel. So that is all done here. So pretty much we would be, this would be folding in like this on this one side, okay, and this gap here that we left out would be where our sleeve comes through. And of course on this other side would be the same thing. Right now I'm not lining it up exactly the proper way because I'm using my camera and I'm using one hand, but this is also where our sleeve is gonna be coming through. And that's it. So as you see here, that's pretty much the back and the two front panels completed. And we're going to be probably adding like a little bit of it here in a form of a little bit of a band, so it would look nice and all defined. If I have enough yarn at the end left, I could also do pockets, but I don't think I will be able to do that. But that's pretty much it here. So I'm going to now show you guys how to do the sleeves. Okay guys, so now that we have the body of the cardigan completed, we're going to start with the sleeves. And what I did off camera is I just completed my first sleeve so I can actually show you guys how it looks. I find that it's a lot easier for you guys maybe for me to have things like this instead of completing one with you and then having you do the second one later. I thought I would show you guys how it actually looks like for what we're going to be working on. So this is one of the sleeves that I've already completed. Okay, so as well, so this is pretty much how we're going to be folding the sleeve, and then we're going to be joining it down here to connect it, and then this is the part that will connect to the cardigan itself. So this is what we're working on. Okay, so let's go ahead and get these started. Okay guys, so to get the sleeve started, we're going to start with foundation chain. And as you can see here, I'm leaving a long tail just so we can use it to join the sleeve later. So I'm going to start with doing a slip knot, which as you guys know, this is how I do my slip knot. And of course you can do it however way you find easy. And now that I have my slip knot, I'm going to do a chain of 11. And make sure your chains are on a little bit loose, not too tight. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my chain of 11 here, and we're going to be using this to create the band of the sleeve. So this portion of the sleeve. Okay, now that I have my chain 11, we're going to turn our work. So the 11th chain is our turning chain. And in the next one beside it, we're going to go into the back of it and do a single crochet stitch, just like that. And we're going to go into the next one and do a single crochet stitch. And again, don't make your work too tight. If you crochet tight naturally, try to increase the size of your crochet hook, just so you can make sure your work is a little bit fluffy and kind of loose instead of really tight. Okay, so and then you're just going to continue to do the single crochets in the back of the chain all the way to the end. And then we're going to do the second row, and that's going to be the repeat row until we have what we need for the sleeve. Okay, so I'm doing my 10th one here. So because we skipped the first chain here, we remain with 10 stitches, and that's how many stitches you're going to be working with for this part of the sleeve. Then when you get to the end, you're going to chain 1 and turn, and then you're going to start your second row here by going in the back of the stitch and doing your first single crochet. Okay, and then you go into the next, and again you're just picking the back of each stitch and doing your single crochet there as opposed to going through both of the stitches. Okay, and this is called single crochet back loop or back loop single crochet, and you're going to do this all the way to the end. And in the last stitch I usually go through both loops instead of the back loop only, but that's a preference for me, so it's up to you if you want to continue to do this all the way to the end. But for the last stitch I usually go through both loops like this. Okay, so that's our second row, which is our repeat row. and then we're going to chain one again and continue to do this until you have the size that you're looking for when it comes to the size of the wrist. Let's say, for example, for me, let me bring the other project back into the picture here. So this is my first sleeve here. I'm going to do 30 rows total to create this part of the sleeve, and it's going to be loose on me, so I'm not making it very tight, and that's again a choice for me. So this is how baggy it's going to be. I can literally pull my hand in and out of it. You can choose to do it tighter if you want, so you could make it tighter like this if you want. It's all up to you, but for the sake of this project, I'm going to do 30 rows, which is going to give me this looseness here for my sizing. Okay, so it's up to you. If you're looking to make it tight, then make sure you're doing less of these rows. If you want it even more looser, then you do more of these rows. So that's how the sizing of that part of the sleeve goes. Okay, so I'm working on my third row here, and I'm going to have you guys create the number of rows that you're looking for. I'm going to do my 30 rows, and when I have completed that, I'm going to come back and show you guys how to start the next part of the sleeve, and then it's going to be repeat until we have the length of our sleeve from that point on. And then because I already have my first one created, when you have completed your first, you can go ahead and create the second one offline. And so when I come back to show you how my second one looks, you will have your two as well. And then we can move on to doing the next step of the cardigan, okay? Okay guys, so this is my 30 rows here for the band of the sleeve. So as you can see, that's pretty much how it looks like. So I'm going to show you how to start the next row here so we can build up the length of our sleeve. Okay, so as you can see here, this is where I ended my 30th row. And now we're going to work on this side along like this. Okay, and so I'm going to do a chain of one, and then I'm going to flip my work like this so I can work across like this. Okay, and I'm going to do a single crochet stitch right in the very first stitch here, like so. Okay, and then I'm going to do another single crochet here. Okay, and then I'm going to start to increase so that we can have the sleeve kind of go a little bit wider, and I'll show you what I'm talking about with the completed one here. So as you can see, you will see that it starts to get wider as we build up the work like this. And this is so that your work can get your work can fit your arm, because as you know, our hand starts smaller and then it gets wider as it goes up towards our body. And that is what we're going to try to do by increasing the stitches from the very first row here, so that we can we don't have a narrow sleeve that we're making that will not fit our arm properly. Okay, so in this very next stitch here, I'm going to do 2 single crochet stitches in the same stitch. Okay, and then I'm going to move on, and on the next one here, I'm going to do 1 single crochet stitch, and then in the next I'm going to do 2 single crochet stitches, and I'm going to continue alternating these all the way to the end. And this is going to make these go wide. As you can see here, you can already see it kind of like going outwards like this. Okay, so go ahead and do that all the way until you get to the end here. When you get here, come back and I will show you how to do the next row, which is going to be our repeat row for the remaining of the sleeve. Okay, so I will see you guys in a bit. Okay guys, so I have reached the end of this row here. So as you can see, that's how that first row of increased stitches looks like. Starting to look where it's going outwards. It's supposed to straight up like this, and this is going to make sure we have the right size for the our arms. Now just for the sake of measurements, if your arms are a lot bigger, this is where you would play with that kind of sizing to make sure you're getting the circumference of your arm at the right size. So this would probably mean that you have to do a lot more rows of this, and that way when you do the increases here, that you're capturing you're increasing your work a lot more than regular, Or the other option could be, instead of skipping every other stitch here to do your increases, you could increase at every single stitch, and which would then make this a lot more wider for you if you have a little bit of bigger arms. Okay, now I have 2 more stitches to go at the end here. So as you can see, this was my increase spot right there, and just like we did at the beginning, we did the first 2 rows 2 stitches without increasing. We're going to end it the same way. So for this stitch here, I'm going to just do a normal single crochet, and then in the final one on the end here, I'm going to do a regular one as well, and therefore it matches this side. Okay, now it doesn't matter how many stitches you have up here, you don't have to worry about that, but as long as you have your increase and that your work looks slanted like that, it looks more curving in like that, that's how you know you have increased quite a lot, and that's good. Okay, all right, so we're going to now start with the repeat row for the remaining of the project. So, and it's going to be the same stitch that we used to do the body of the cardigan. So where we're going to alternate between the single crochet and the double crochet. Okay, so we're going to chain 1 and then turn, and the very first stitch here, we're going to do a single crochet stitch. Okay, and then we're going to move on to the next stitch and do a double crochet stitch, and this is going through both loops. Okay, and then in the next, we're going to do a single crochet stitch, and in the next after that, a double crochet stitch. And this is, as you now can tell, this is the same pattern that we used for the body of the cardigan. Okay, we're just going to keep doing this, where every other stitch is a single crochet stitch, and every other stitch is a double crochet stitch. And this is what creates this kind of texture here. The fact that we're alternating those 2 stitches creates this texture here. And yeah, so we're just gonna go ahead and continue to do this all the way to the end. When you get to the end, you will always end up with a single crochet stitch, and if you end up with a double crochet stitch, there's no problem with it, but then you will always chain 1 at the beginning of each row, and then just continue to do that until you build up the length of your sleeve. Okay, so in my case, I'm going to build up 22 rows 22 inches, and when I have my 22 inches to match my first one that I completed, then I will stop, and then I will come back to show you guys what to do next for the remaining parts of the cardigan. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed my second sleeve here. So this is the one that I started with you, as I had completed the first one offline. So this is pretty much how mine looks like. As you can see, this is the where the wrist goes, and then it goes where towards your body on the side. But this is pretty much it. So we're gonna be folding it like this, obviously, and joining it here to get our sleeve. For those of you who want to know, so I have 60 rows here from the from after the first row of the single crochet stitch that we did. The rest of it is 60 inches, and if you're counting that first row of single crochet stitch, then it will be 61 inches. But this is 61 rows, and this is pretty much what my length is. So if you have longer arms, then you would probably do more rows, and if you have shorter arms, then you will do less rows. So always measure to see what size you need to get. Okay, so that's my first one there completed. Well, my second actually, because this is the first one that I did offline. So this is it as well here. So this is done. My 2 sleeves are done, and out of all the yarn that I have, this is how much I have left out of it. And so I don't actually have enough to do my ribbing or like the inside of the cardigan, like this kind of thing. Let me show you on a sweater I'm wearing. So this is the body of the sweater here. I wanted to do this part of it here, and then of course the bottom of it. And because I don't have enough yarn here, I'm going to be using a different color to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that ribbing, as well as how to make the pockets. And when we have all of our pieces, then we'll join our cardigan together. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on that. Okay, my lovelies, so as I just explained, I ran out of the yarn for the main body of the cardigan. So I'm going to be using this color here to do the ribbing, the bottom ribbing, as well as the overall inside to the sides ribbing, as well as the pockets. I have more than of this yarn, So I will be able to do that with this. Just to tell you a little bit about this yarn here. So as you can see, this is from Craft Smart Value TM. It's 100% acrylic, medium weight number 4. Recommended hook size is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. And this one is Taupe is in terms of color. Okay, and these are the measurements right here. So that is this color here. This was the best that I could match, or at least have a good combination of color with the color of my cardigan. And so this is the color that we're going to be using. Okay, so to get it started, I'm going to do a really long line of this band part here, which is going to do, I'm not really sure how to explain what this part of the cardigan is, but I will show you guys when I have completed it as a full item, because it's just hard for me to explain what it's actually called. But I call it the band because it goes in the bottom. So as I explained it here, is this part of your sweater. So this color here, oh, it kind of matches to my background here. But anyways, as you can see, my sweater is red, and then it has this part here that goes all the way up, and it goes around my neck, and it comes out on this side that has the buttons here like this. And then this part of the bottom as well is what I'm making. So I'm making this part as well as the part that goes in the bottom of the cardigan. I'm not sure what that is called. If you know, please let me know in the comment box below. But that's what we're making here. So we're gonna start by doing a slip knot to start our foundation chain, just like that. And then I'm going to do a chain of 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then I'm going to skip the first chain here, and in the second one I'm going to go in the back of it, and I'm going to do my single crochet stitch. So this is going to be very similar how we started the sleeves band, or the beginning of the sleeves. And then I'm just going to do single crochet stitches until I finish this row. And then we're going to start the second row, which is a repeat row, and I'm going to have you guys create about 70 inches 70 inches in that. In my case, it's gonna be 70 inches. It may be different based on the size of your sweater, but all you do is just measure, make the measurements, and then make the right length that is going to fit your sweater from one side around your neck, and then falls onto the other side. So, and I will show you that when I show you the full cardigan on a flat surface. Okay, so that's the first row there. And then I'm going to start row 2 by doing a chain 1, turning. This is your repeat row. If the very first stitch on the second row is a single crochet stitch in the back loop, and then you're going to do that until you get all the way to the end, where you're going to complete your 10th stitch by going through both loops instead of just the back loop. And then you're going to chain 1 and repeat. And then you're going to do that until, like I said, you have the length. In my case, I'm going to do 70 inches long. And what I do is I'm making it a little bit tiny longer than what I need. And when we sew it on, we're going to leave the end where we finish off the band. It's going to be the last part of the sweater that we're going to put together, so that if it's too long, we can undo the first few rows. But that's pretty much how your first looks like, your first 2 rows look like. And then you're going to just continue this. So chain 1, turn, and just work single crochet stitches in the back loop all the way to the end. In the last one, you go through both loops until you have the length. So I will let you guys continue from here, and I'm going to do 70 inches for the one part that is going to be for the full sweater like this. And then I'm going to do the bottom, which is going to be 40 inches. And then I'll come back when I have both of my parts done. Do the same on your side. And then when I come back, I will be able to show you how to do the pockets, okay? So I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies. So this is what I've completed here. So as you can see, it's super long. Like I said, I was making 70 inches long. So this is the whole of it for the main body here. And then I made this one that is 40 inches, and this is going to be what goes on the bottom of the sweater. So it's hard for me to explain it like this. So what I'll do is I'll just take you. I have put my cardigan on a flat surface on the bed, so I can show you guys the whole thing, how this is gonna go on. And then we'll come back here to the workstation so I can show you how to do the pockets, the 2 pockets. Okay, so let's do that and then we'll come back here to work. Okay, my lovely, so I just put the cardigan on the sweater like this so you can see the full kind of unassembled, I guess unjoined but assembled pieces together. So we have our sleeve there, the other sleeve, and then this is what we just made now, for that will go on the inside of the cardigan like that. The pockets will go right there. Okay, and then this is the bottom, that will be the bottom of the cardigan. So that is, I wanted to show it to you guys on the bed like this, because on the small workstation I cannot spread everything like this and explain it to you further. But this is what I was trying to find the name for, like this part here and this part here. So please, if you know what you call these parts or these panels of the sweater or a cardigan, let me know, because I don't know. I just call it the band because it looked like a band of a sweater. But anyway, so this is it here. So this is how these colors go together. Let me know too what you think about these colors, because I just kind of googled what would go well with these like color here, the blue or the teal, or they call it Reef for an official name. And this was the color that I said it would be recommended for it, and I just happened to have a skein laying around, so I'm gonna be finishing off the sweater with that color. I think when I put the pockets right here, it's gonna look really nice. But that's pretty much how it looks so far. So let's go ahead and get started with the pockets, and then when we have all the pieces completed, then I'm gonna go ahead and join everything and we should be done after that. Okay, so see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovely, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with the pockets for the cardigan. So as you can see, I just left a little bit of a long tail so we can use it to sew our pockets to the cardigan. So I'm going to be starting by doing a slip knot, and then I'm going to do a chain of 25. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so that's my chain of 25 here. Okay, and then I'm going to start by doing the same stitch that we used to do the body of the cardigan. So I'm going to skip this stitch here, and in this second stitch I'm going to do my single crochet stitch. Okay, and then for this part here we're going to do a single crochet stitch all across the chain until we get to the end. And by the time you get to the end, you should have 24 stitches all together, because we skipped our 25th stitch to start this row. So go ahead and do that when you get to the end. Come back and I will show you guys how to do the first row, which is going to be, or the second row in this case, and it's going to be our repeat row, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, so this is the first row completed here. So we're gonna go ahead and start our second row, and I'm going to do a chain of 1 and turn. And this is where we do the same pattern as the body of the cardigan. So in the first stitch here, we're going to do a single crochet stitch, and then we're going to do a double crochet stitch in the next. Okay, and then I'm going to do a single crochet stitch in the next, and then a double crochet stitch in the next, and then we're just going to alternate this all the way to the end. And what you will do in the end of each row, you're going to do a chain 1 and turn, and then you're going to start, the very first row is always going to be a single crochet stitch, no matter what you end it with from the previous row. So you're just going to do this all the way until you have the size of the pocket that you're looking to do. So what I'll do here is I'll just show you quickly one piece that I've already completed. This will be my second, but I'll show you a first one that I completed. Okay, so this is my first pocket here, and you can put this on the cardigan however. So I'm gonna probably make this side that looks nice and neat be the top of the where it's gonna, I'm gonna leave it open, and then this over here is gonna be the bottom, and then the sides. Okay, you can accessorize this however you want. I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet. I may put like a button right here in the middle. That may not really be a functioning button, but it's gonna be decorative and it's gonna look nice, or may not, I don't know yet. but this is my first pocket here. And 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, so I did 20 rows for this here. So I'm gonna do the same for my second one here. So I would like you guys to create your first pocket and then duplicate it by doing exact same one. And of course the size is gonna be what you want. You can make your pocket wider, or you can make it longer so it's a little bit deeper, but I think this is an appropriate size like this. So I'm gonna finish my second pocket here, and then I will come back when I have both of them completed. And then the next step is going to be joining all the pieces together for our cardigan to be completed. Okay, so I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so we're back on the bed here. So as you can see, I have my 2 pockets completed here. I just kind of placed them there, which is kind of about almost halfway. The top of the pocket there touches kind of halfway from the top of the sweater. So that's or the cardigan in this case. So that's pretty much how it looks like. So the next part of this is going to be joining everything together. So I'm not going to show you guys how to sew each piece together, but it's pretty much going to be, we're going to be joining this part here. So this is the top of your shoulder, and then joining your sleeve here, and then joining the bottom of the sleeve. So the way I laid it down here is pretty much how you're going to join it. So again, the top of your sleeves there will have to be joined, and then you will join your sleeve to the sweater, and then closing off the bottom. And if you have enough space or some space left here, then you will need to shut that too, because if you left a little bit of a bigger gap and you don't need all of it, then you'll need to close it off. Otherwise you have an open hole right at your armpit. And you're going to do that on the other side as well. And then you're going to, I would say, do the pockets last, like join your pockets last, but you're going to join this part of the cardigan here all along, and then the top of your sweater, and then it comes all the way down here. And then you will do this. So also I recommend that you do this after you've joined this one, then do this one next. And when this is joined, and then you will join your pockets. And when your pockets are joined, then it's pretty much done. In terms of just adding things like buttons, just to make it look a little bit nice, I'm not sure. I will probably decide that when I have the completed project done, and that's going to be an option for you, so you don't have to do those accessories. You could just leave your cardigan when it's completed, just simple like this. So I'll let you guys decide if you want to do buttons on yours. I may even do buttons down like this, even though they may not be functional buttons, but they will make the cardigan look nice. But that's just speculation for now. So anyway, so I'm gonna take quite a while to join everything together, and when I have everything joined, I will come and display back on the bed and show you guys how the whole thing came together. Okay, my lovelies, so as you can see here, I have completed putting all the panels together. The work is pretty much completed, so hopefully you're also at this step where you can just kind of lay your cardigan somewhere flat and see how it looks exactly, or you can try it on. In this case here, I chose to just kind of lay it on my bed so you guys can see how the whole thing looks like when it's completed. So the pockets are joined. All the panels that we had created throughout the video are now joined. The only different thing is I have decided to add these cute buttons here, the owl buttons, and I just got this from Amazon, and I think these are super cute. It kind of accessorizes the cardigan a little bit, and it makes it kind of very more, you know, playful. And as you can see here, these buttons are not functional, so they're just here simply to decorate the cardigan. So this is also something that is an option for you. You don't have to actually do it, but if you want to, you can. I chose to do it because I wanted to do it, therefore I have it. Anyways, this is pretty much it here. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching the video to the end. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so, and make sure you like the video, put the thumbs up on it, and as well, please make sure you hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I have videos posted, which is usually every Saturday, once a week. Okay, all right, well, thank you so much again, and I will see you guys in my next video. Kwaheri.